All right, this morning we're working on a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Replacing the downstream oxygen sensor on the second bank. Hello and welcome back. So today we worked on a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee that needed an oxygen sensor replacement. The oxygen sensor is placed just behind the catalytic converter underneath the car. I'll show that in a video right here. There's the O2 sensor, the rear O2 sensor on the Pentastar V6. It's right there. There's a clip up there, and it's routed up behind over on top of the bell housing of the transmission. You gotta take all the trim from underneath the windshield wipers off to get to that connector, but otherwise it's fairly simple. The most difficult part was accessing the connector behind up against the firewall behind the air plenum or the intake manifold. So once that's removed, that's easy to access, and then you can get down in there and take apart that connector and access the O2 sensor and then disconnect it from underneath the car. It's not a big deal. It's actually pretty easy. So the oxygen sensor is actually in the catalytic converter at the bottom half of the catalytic converter, and that's not hard to get to. So I just showed you the video of the location of that O2 sensor. So just to recall, it is in that catalytic converter underneath the driver's seat there. But the connector is behind the manifold, behind the firewall. So we're gonna have to remove all this stuff here to get to it. So I just sprayed those with some anti-seize. They look pretty corroded, so hopefully they come off pretty easily. All right, so that wiper and the back panel is off, so I can access back there. Access the wiring for the O2 sensors. So I wanted to get a reading from the OBD2, the onboard diagnostics 2 system, which self-diagnoses the car, and see what that had said. And so it did verify that there was an O2 sensor failure, O2 sensor bank 2, and so that's what we're doing. All right, so that's it. The O2 sensor is installed. Here's the old one. Just gotta put this plastic cover back on here, and then finish tightening up these windshield wipers. But that's it. That's how you do a O2 sensor on a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee with the 3.6 pentastar motor. Thanks a lot. Okay, so there's some vital information there on how to replace that O2 sensor on that 3.6 Chrysler 3.6 pentastar engine. So if you need to do the O2 sensors, remember you got to take all that stuff around the windshield wipers, the cowling, all that stuff needs to be removed so you can access the connectors towards the back of the firewall behind the intake manifold. But once you get that out, it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You just need the O2 sensor socket or a 22 millimeter wrench, open-end wrench, and that should do it.